so much for coming to the show. I really appreciate you. Shout out to everybody tuning in on my Facebook Live, on my Instagram Live, and everybody tuning in at City College. We appreciate you guys. So before we get into the interview, can you let everybody know at City College, like, your career, like, what do you do for a living, and everything that you have going on right now?
Okay, so I am the CEO and founder of the Queendom NYC, which is all about changing the narrative for Black women and working to create a more positive image of us in society. I am also the executive director of a nonprofit organization in Brownsville that works to help people who are formerly incarcerated and survivors of domestic violence and in need of mental health. I work with the Boys and Girls Club in Brownsville, helping youth enhance their lives and find their way to college and careers. I'm a master's in public administration and affairs from Metropolitan College of New York, where I serve on the board of advisors. And I'm a mom, first and foremost. I am the mom of 7 children who I adore and who are like the most lit kids in the whole world.
Yes. Oh, great. I'm a mom too. I have a 12-year-old boy. And I wish I had 7, but you look amazing. How is it being a mom of 7?
Actually, it's never a dull moment with the kids. And I think, honestly, I have a great bond with my kids and relationships. So they're like my friends. They hold me accountable. They make me be better. They force me to know more, to have more, to be more. They are definitely inspiration to me.
Amazing. I know that even my son, he's like 12 now, but as he grows, I'm like, wow, you inspire me so much. Like, just the other weekend, I seen his toe. He weighs like he weighs like a size 10. And I was like, yes. I was like, I remember when you was a little baby wearing like a 1. Like, why? But they inspire us and they keep us motivated. So that's what we do it for. So it's great. So today's topic of today is domestic violence, and I wanted to get into that. But before we get into that, I want to do a giveaway here.
Yes, we love giving away stuff.
So earlier, I let everyone at City College know at 1 p.m. I will be playing one of my favorite songs, well, one of our favorite songs, because you just helped me. But I'm going to play this song, and I want you guys to listen to the song, embrace it, get into the mood. And I'm going to be giving away a $10 Chick-fil-A gift card. All you got to do is listen in, call in, and tell me who's the song by, what's the name of the song, and you can win the gift card. So if you want to win, please call 212-650-8171. We're going to get into the music right now. Stay tuned. This is the Hottest Hour Lunch Talk with your girl, Cher Ferguson. Yes, I'm improvising all the time. So here we go. So yes. So all the videos that you was trying to post, I don't have no. There we go. And we are back. We are live, and it's the Hottest Hour Lunch Talk. And I have my special guest in the building. I'm so excited. So let's get into the interview because there's a lot going on today at City College. So, how was growing up as a Black woman in society? Can you just share your experience about that?
I think for me, I've always known about my Blackness.
Yes.
So I think for us as Black women, we not only have to deal with being a Black woman in society, but within our own family. So I'm one of the darker women in my family. Mm-hmm. So my nose is bigger, my weight was heavier, yes. My hair was thicker. So I was made to feel like I wasn't the one that could play sister and sparkle. Right. I couldn't be the pretty sister in the middle. And
it's hard to deal with that when you have go ahead, Boo, of other
siblings. So yeah, I have an older brother, God rest his dead, and we'll talk about that too. Yes. And my younger brother. So I was the only girl in the middle. And my mother is Native American, Chinese, and Venezuelan. Wow. So I got a permit at 5 years old.
Wow.
Right. So those experiences to alter and change were real, and my identification of beauty was my mom, and I didn't look like her.
Yes.
So it was very challenging to me to be able to identify myself as a beautiful woman when, you know, the videos, when I was growing up, I'm telling about, you know, it was Aaliyah and Shanti, and, you know, they were all, and Beyonce, and they were all light skinned and size 1, and, you know, with a long weave, right? And big girls weren't in. I mean, we popping now, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, like, you know what I mean? But back then, no, we were definitely excluded, you know. So being a Black woman and growing up, was really difficult. I think one of the saving graces for me was going to a historically Black college and university straight out of high school, because then I no longer had to compete with my white counterparts that had pools in their houses. I was able to come outside with my hair washed and wild, and, you know, learn about myself and be amongst my own in a way that was enriching to me.
Yes, amazing.
Right. So that's when I learned about W.E.B. Du Bois and Malcolm X, and you know, I began to really study about what life really was, and also about, you know, a Black woman's experience spiritually. So that's when I first started saying, like, who am I bigger than the content of myself, and looking at those things. And then as I evolved and began to understand that I am beautiful, the world told me I was pretty, right? The world, thank you. The world started to tell me that I was smart and I was capable. Then I went into the workforce and was told that I was inferior because I got paid less than my counterparts, or I was perceived as a basketball wife, or, you know, somebody who's going to come and cause trouble because of, you know, the blonde hair, the nails, the stigmas, you know, of Black women. So it's definitely been an uphill battle, you know, whereas it's always an issue of being good enough and measuring up and making sure your Blackness doesn't come through too much. You don't want to show up to the interview with braids, like as if my brain changed with my hair.
Yes, definitely. And then I know that the laws are changing now, where they're saying, oh, you can't discriminate because of someone's hair, but this just happens, you know, just because you have a certain look, people are, like, you know, stereotyping you or associating you with the stigma, and it's not okay. But we as Black women have to stand up and fight for that. And, you know, like you do, you have so many businesses now, but you fought, like, you kind of fought for that.
Oh yeah. I've been fighting for years. I've been doing businesses for at least 15 years now. I've been running different businesses, and it's been an uphill battle, because my beauty will get me in the room, but it doesn't get me respected. I could get in the room, but once I'm in the room, it's the flirting and the little innuendos, and then I have to prove that no, not only do I deserve to be in the room, I'm probably the leader in the room. You know, so let's move the needle forward, and let's not get caught up in the triviality of sex and sexuality and flirting and what your agenda is. You can't have an agenda with me. I have my own agenda.
I love it. So let's speak on your past and how you got here, being this strong, educated Black woman. Is amazing. Like, you're beautiful. So let's talk about, today's topic is domestic violence. Yes. And it's girl talk. So let's talk about some of the challenges you had with domestic violence in your life. Looking back now, how challenging was that? You want to share that experience?
So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but what we know is that every 20 minutes a woman is being assaulted. Every 20 minutes, somebody's being brutalized and mistreated. 2 out of every 3 women are survivors or still victims of domestic violence. So part of the mission of the Queendom NYC is to change the narrative of Black women. And what has become familiar and normal to us is not okay. It's not okay. So my experience with domestic violence begins in my mother's womb.
Wow.
My father beat my mother to the point that she had kidney failure when she was 9 months pregnant with me.
Let's come to the mic.
And so I was born with jaundice because they had to give medicine for her kidneys. So I grew up in violence. Violence is all I knew. My entire existence. So staying up at night, not feeling sense of peace, not knowing what was going to happen day to day, having to hold ice packs to my mother's face. That was my childhood experience. And I remember always thinking to myself, that could never be me. And then lo and behold, I spend the greater part of my adult life being abused. So tragically, my family experience, my mother was able to, leave from my father. But my older brother ended up in a relationship where his girlfriend murdered him with a double-barrel shotgun at 20 years old.
Wow. This, your brother, God rest his soul, but we see now how domestic violence is just generation to generation. It's passed. It's unfortunate, but it's actually passed down, and we just have to put a stop to it, and we have to educate people.
Yes.
And bring awareness to it.
Yes.
Break the cycle.
Yes, definitely.
The reality is that it's not what's light and friendly. We're play fighting.
Yeah.
Because he was 20 at the time. He would have been 40. He would have been 40.
Hi, Facebook. I need them to see your beautiful face. Thank you for tuning in, y'all. But this is a serious topic.
So my brother would have been, I think, 40 something. Wow. We're not gonna get into that because then we start talking about my age.
Yeah, we ageless over here.
We ageless, we're forever young.
Yes. So that was your brother's experience.
Yes.
Wow.
So we went from play fighting, because they're 20 years old, right. And I know there's a lot of young people here at City College, and they're in relationships where they're like, oh, I don't want to be with you anymore, and the other person's like, no, you have to be with me, and they're popping up and they're making phone calls and they're calling and they're texting. That is domestic violence. When you say I am done with something and someone doesn't respect your boundaries, and you had a relationship with them and they continue to press past your boundaries, that is domestic violence. And it's not to be taken lightly, because when a person becomes obsessed, it can become deadly. My life is an example of that. So my brother is no longer here because it was taken lightly.
Right.
It was just young people in love, and they're playing until it got to a point where it's like, oh, you're with somebody else, I'm gonna kill you.
Yes.
And nobody has the right to take somebody else's life.
And it's so hard. It's just so hard. It's just so hard.
It is. But it's a real experience. And I think that part of the issue is that we don't want to deal with it.
Yes, we don't.
We don't.
I don't want to cry on air, but I'm like, it's hard for me to talk about this topic because people go through it every day, and we're not shining enough light on it. And like you said, your brother lost his life, and we always think it's the situation where a man is beating up a woman, but it could be either way.
It could be either way. And the thing about it is that a lot of us women, we're not protecting our best interests when we know we're in a situation that's, abusive or violent. We kind of are passively allowing it to, go on. Yes. And then we think that, well, maybe he'll get over it or whatever the case. And then you don't know if you're going to be placed in a situation where you have to defend yourself.
Yes.
And if luckily, thanks to the work of Lady Catherine Julian,
yes.
She created the DB5 bill, which protects victims of domestic violence if they have to commit an act of crime in response to domestic violence.
Wow.
But prior to that, when a person had to defend themselves, they went to jail.
Yes.
So you have to protect your interests as well, So back to me. So
yes.
we digressed.
Rest in peace to your brother.
Yes. And he's a big part of everything that I do, because the last time I saw my brother was my senior year of high school, and we were sitting in the car, and we went through a really harsh childhood. Abuse, domestic violence, drug abuse. We had a hard childhood.
Yeah.
And he was more like a father figure to me because, he had to go out in the world and be a man early. And the last conversation he had to me was like, you're not like those other girls.
Wow.
You're one of those smart girls.
Yes.
He said, you're like a Harvard type girl. He said, go to college.
Yes.
Right. So I've spent my entire adult life struggling through the most insane situations, but still achieving that goal because something inside of me wanted to honor that last request that was made of me. Unfortunately, I've had these really bad relationships. And I think that what's really important for me is not just for people who are experiencing domestic violence or going through domestic violence to hear the message, but for people who know people, the sister, the cousin, the friend, the mom. don't abandon a person who's being abused.
Definitely.
And what my experience was is that because of my family situation being shaky, I ended up in relationships that could take advantage of me.
Right.
And I think I remember the first time I was ever hit. My mom had kicked me out the house, and I went to my then boyfriend, future children's father's house.
Yes.
And I remember confronting him about a girl's number being in his phone. Remember when people number used to be
Right,
in a
you be like,
piece of paper?
Oh, what?
And they fold it up, and they used to be like,
you open
and
it
I
like, what is this? Oh, I found a couple of those recently, and I thought that don't happen
they
no
don't
more.
even, like, come on, put it right in the phone as unknown, like, you know.
No,
Stop
but
playing
serious.
around.
No, but serious. Like it's real. So you went up to him and you was just like, "What is this number?"
Where's
What
this
is
number
this?
came from? And he slapped me so hard, and I just was like, and I didn't know what to do because my mother already put me out. Where am I going? What do I do? How do I respond to this? And I remember feeling like, okay, we're gonna fight.
Right.
Then
and it's like it's hard to make that decision. Like, do I fight back? Do I not? Do I need to leave? Like, what do I do? It's hard to make that decision.
Right. And then internally, I had this thing going on because my older brother, who was my defender, is dead.
Right.
So I have somebody hit me and I can't call my big brother.
Yep.
So that's where, something inside of us has to be stronger than anything outside of us.
Amen.
When someone violates our space and violates what we are and our purpose and existence and why God created us. So ultimately, the domestic violence, I left that relationship, went to another relationship, and I left the man, but I didn't leave the spirit.
Mm.
So that energy continued to travel with
the
me.
healing part is the hardest.
I didn't heal. I just continued to grow. And I said, well, my thought process was, everybody cries. Everybody has a broken heart.
Yes.
Right? Some women go to the welfare office and some women go to the spa. I wanted to go to the spa. Yes. So I said, let me go get my education. Yes. Let me go and build myself up. And I continue to work through building myself up and honoring my brother's life and his request of me. So I would have 2 babies, go get a degree. Have 2 more babies, go get another degree. I got a bunch of babies, y'all. I got a lot of degrees.
Amazing, right? But it happens. I love school. Yeah. School is life,
School definitely was a saving grace because it gave me an opportunity to see where my possibilities were.
Yes.
And I had met a woman that Joanna Russell, she was my mentor, and she told me to start looking at things from a different perspective.
Wow.
Right. And I was like, I don't understand, because I needed an internship. And she was like, well, what are you organically doing? What are you already doing? And I'm like, well, I drop off my kids. I'm just a mom.
Right.
Well, she opened my eyes that day. Like, you're just a mom. You drop off your kids. Don't people get paid when you drop off your kids? Who's who and what's what?
Right,
and I started looking at things differently. And when I started looking at it differently, I began to understand that the world is what I bring to it.
Right.
It's not what it brings to me. And then I began to create in the world.
Amazing. Creation is amazing. Like, you can go so far when you create. And I'm just happy that was your saving grace when she told you that. So after that, you decided to like go in and do more businesses with children?
Well, so I actually was offered a position at the Head Start Center.
Mm.
And I worked there. And then from there, I was offered another position. Like, so I started creating a little buzz for myself,
wow.
Right? And I took on a leadership role in the college, and my world just changed. It changed from me coming out of a domestic violence shelter, being in the projects,
right,
going back to school,
right, to
now making $20,000 a year,
wow,
now making $40,000 a year,
wow,
now making $80,000 a year.
Wow.
I did that in 3 years. In 3 years, yes. So, and I was taking care of my 4 babies. I was married at the time, and my husband at the time had a hard time managing my elevation.
Right.
And that's part of the issue of domestic violence. Underlyingly is that because especially Black men, are not being prepared to have power in the workforce, they feel undermined. So that masculine feminine energy is not balanced in the home, and then it creates conflict.
Yes, it does.
So like I said, as a Black woman, it's easier for me to get in the door,
Correct.
but I have to fight once I'm in there.
Right.
Whereas a Black man can't get in the door.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so it's like the balance with the family environment became really harsh and difficult. So when so when I got my conferment that I was going to graduate and I was doing my thing, I think I had like a at-home business, and I was doing a little consulting stuff or whatever, but it ended up being an incident of violence between me and my husband at the time, and I had to leave.
Yes.
With 4 little babies, and
Wow.
it was so hard. I remember, because it wasn't so much that him as a person was bad.
Was that the first incident with your husband, or was it leading up to, like, you didn't see the signs in this new relationship, or was it like, what did anything show you a sign like this? My husband, like, I know that it was your husband, like, my husband is not good. This is like a repeated.
I wouldn't say he wasn't good.
Yeah.
I still won't say that. Now we'll get to the next one. Then I'm on good, but I would say
Right.
that I don't believe it was his intent to hurt me.
Correct.
I think that he just wasn't equipped with the skills
Yes.
and the foundation in himself
Yes.
to not lash out in a violent manner.
Which is understandable, and that's why we have to bring awareness to educating people, because growing up, some people might go through, he might not have had a mom or a dad, and then that brokenness inside him he didn't deal with. Boom, that was like my situation. I can't talk about it because then I might cry on air, but but my ex, I don't think
tears are just water.
I know.
Tears of water for our gardens. Tears
Yes.
of water for our garden.
But it's so weird because I laugh about it, but it's not really like it's not. It's just so many emotions.
Mixed emotions.
When I talk about it, that it's hard to express it.
Yes.
But he wasn't ready for everything that I had in store. Like when I started my show, his career kind of went downhill. My career picked up, and it was hard for him to understand that. Also, not having a mom. I'm not sure what your ex-husband situation was, but when a Black man in society is struggling with keeping up or struggling to get inside that door, unfortunately, these things happen when you get into a dispute with your loved one, and then you may make a mistake.
Yeah.
It's not like you're a bad guy or you wanted to intentionally hurt someone, but it just might have happened. And
I mean, the thing is that what we know is that we hurt the ones that are closest to us,
right? Because
you can't walk into an office or a business office and they didn't offer you the job and say, I'm gonna slap you. You can't slap them. You going to jail. So the frustrations of the world can build up. It's not an excuse. There is no excuse, because the same way you have that control in that public setting, in that office, you have to have that same control and boundaries and respect. Unfortunately, many of us Black women do not give people boundaries in order for them to know how to treat us.
Right.
We are so in need of being loved and wanted that we'll accept titles of side chicks, main chicks, this chick, that.
No,
I ain't nobody chick. I'm the queen now. I'm the queen.
I'm nobody.
I ain't nobody chick now, But it's like we need that acceptance. We want love so much, especially when you come from dysfunctional homes and where we aren't built up. It's like we look for that love, right. And we accept people doing slighted things. So when you ask, were there things and signs to lead up? Sure, there were. Yes. Absolutely. Could I see them or identify them? Did they even matter? No, right. They didn't matter, because I just needed somebody to love me.
Right. And at that time, we do have to realize and embrace the fact that we have underlying issues that we have to deal with. Unfortunately, it just happens. You're maybe born into, certain circumstances, but you have to deal with those, because later on, it just might be like, I've seen people have like a whole anxiety attack and break down and start breaking everything in their apartments and houses. I'm like, why do they get to that point?
It's a manifestation. It's a manifestation, Yeah. So, but energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's just transformed.
Right.
So, that's basic science. So, when we think about the feelings of love and emotions and things that we go through in our childhood experiences, it's just a transfer of energy, right? So what we know about an atom, right, is that it has a positive and a negative.
Right.
And what's dominant is what it attaches itself to.
Right.
So we have to make a decision of what we're going to attach ourselves to. So oftentimes it's easier to attach ourselves to the negative.
Yes.
It's easier to attach ourselves to the group of mean girls.
Those just be sticking so easily.
Oh, it's easy.
Like,
it's easy to remember Future song.
Right.
You know, it's easy. You know, it's easy to learn to dance to, you know, the Molly minute. That's easy.
Yes.
But when you go over to the other side of what is more challenging and positive, it requires us to be more complex, to be accountable. You can't walk around with negative, oh, this one did that, da, 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 and also carry the positive torch. It's darkness and light have nothing to do with each other.
Right.
Either it's light in the room or it's dark.
Correct.
So, you know, when we attach ourselves to something, we have all of this energy and we want to give love and we think it's going to be positive. But then when we don't know what positive looks like, and that's for me, I didn't know what it looked like.
Yes. And unfortunately, that happened.
I didn't know what it looked like. So I left that relationship. And when I left that relationship, my career was skyrocketing, right?
Wow.
I was
dealing with that. Like, how did you deal with that?
So this is the thing about it, right? So all things work together for the good.
Amen.
So even though I may have been in a situation where my life was always a stressor, I couldn't sleep at night, I couldn't function in the household, I didn't know what was going to happen, it created my strength.
Amen.
So just like when you go to the gym and you're squatting, you may start off squatting with 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, but eventually if you squat enough, you can pick up 1,000 pounds on your back. Okay. So I actually function best with the 1,000 pounds on my back because that's what I'm familiar with. Wow. You sit me down so long, I get upset. Like, what's happening? Why is it? I gotta do something. You know. So
so the next relationship
was the one that really could have taken my life.
Wow.
And by that time, because I never dealt with the underlying issues, because I never healed from the domestic violence that I experienced, the pain, the hurt, the grief, the depression, because I never just acknowledged the fact that I just can't keep going on. I can't just get a new job and make it look pretty.
Yes.
Right? I ended up in a new relationship with an extremely violent person. He is not just domestic violence. He's violent.
Yes.
Okay, criminally violent. And we become more susceptible to those narcissistic, sociopathic behaviors and personalities because of our lifestyles and what we've experienced with abuse. Because abused people tend to wear their heart on their sleeve, right? Yeah. And we want to take care of everybody. Yeah. So I meant.
And we don't even think about taking care of ourselves.
Never.
Sometimes.
Never.
Like, oh, I want to help.
Nope.
You know, I want to just be there.
So I picked up a situation where I wanted to take care of him.
Right. Wow.
He needed somebody to love him.
Wow.
Right. And I felt like that was my responsibility.
Wow.
That was my project. So
and you took on that with pride. You was like, this is me. I was gonna fix him. I'm gonna fix him.
I was gonna fix him.
You gotta give some women out here some.
You can't fix him. He cannot be fixed.
Yes.
His mama and daddy did what they did.
Yes.
He is his own man, and just like you are responsible to fix yourself.
Amen.
You are not Ayala. You cannot fix it. We are not the fixers of men. We have to love ourselves. You can't give what you don't have. So for me to be so broken, and think that I was going to be able to fix somebody, it was delusional at best.
Yes. And you didn't realize it at the time until...
I think I might have realized it.
Oh, wow.
If I just be genuine and honest, I think that I did realize I was in a situation, and I think that I wanted to prove that I could have a healthy relationship.
It happens when you just want to make that work. You want to just make that...
I just want to prove the point.
I want to just...
Like, I'm tired, especially, the stigma of having multiple children
or having like multiple men or
having multiple marriages. People look at you, oh, you're a failure. A lot of times, even when relationships end, people, what did you do? I ain't do nothing. The
I
best
agree.
thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, but that's things like that. Like I didn't what, and you can find everything. What I didn't do nothing. Nothing.
Right. So you start to hide
Right.
the reality. You start to hide it so that this way, because you know it's failing. You know you're on a sinking ship. You playing the violin on the Titanic. Like, okay. You know it's a sinking ship.
No,
but you don't want to admit it because now you got to deal with the embarrassment.
Right. And
So
the
hurt and all of that stuff. So it's sometimes better to just be quiet.
Yes.
And just, let it be,
right.
And make nice pictures because, we was both good looking. So, we took nice pictures with pretty kids and stuff, Okay, but with him, the violence was so extreme. It was so extreme. And now I'm no longer the young girl who came out of an abusive home. I'm a grown lady with a bachelor's degree in counseling. I am the director of mental health agencies. I am the leader of this. I'm part of the church, and I'm being beat on.
What? And dealing with all of that, and you're still being successful, holding the kids down, showing up, and you are being abused.
And I'm being abused.
Wow.
And I'm being abused.
How did you get through that? Well, what was the breaking point for you? Let's talk about the breaking point, and then how did you?
Ooh. Okay. So, it's more recent than we would think.
Yeah. My situation too. But we gonna get past that.
I think that the beauty is the end.
Okay.
Right.
Amen.
So I had left several times. The abuse would get so bad that I would have to disappear. The first time I disappeared was when I told him he was flirting with some girl, doing something, I don't know. And I was just like, you was going to leave.
Right.
And we're talking about a huge man, 6'4", 270 pounds. We're muscle bound, huge man.
Right.
And he hit me with the back of his hand. And from here to here, I had to get stitched up.
Whoa.
He took me to the hospital. And that's another thing, medical providers and people who are nursing or going into the field of medical, when you have a woman that looks like she's being abused, do not listen to the man telling the story and she's sitting there being quiet.
Yeah,
Ask the other person to leave the room, intervene on someone's behalf. I remember laying there with my face busted open completely to the white meat. And he spoke the whole time about how we just got in a car accident and I stopped short and my head hit the dashboard and blah, blah, blah. And he stood with me the whole time while my face was being stitched up. And I just sat there in disbelief that I couldn't even ask for help.
Wow.
Thank God my intelligence supersedes my emotions. So I was able to outthink him and get him away from me.
Right.
Within a couple of days. And then.
So you ran and you hid basically.
Well, no, I got rid of him. I'm telling you, I'm a master crafter. I got rid of him. I did some fast thinking and I got rid of him at that time. And then about, I say a year and change later, I spent some time healing. I was building my organization, which was Purpose 7 at the time, which was consultant, and I was helping other people build intensive in-home counseling agencies because I understood what it was like as a child growing up in certain environments. So I was able to write policies and procedures, and I was, doing HR management, staffing, and I was working from home and helping people build their businesses, write business plans, and kind of getting myself together. I kind of stayed to myself for a long time, not dating, just focusing on my kids.
Part.
And then it left me a little vulnerable. Because when he started calling again, he wanted his baby, I fell for it. And I let him come back because he changed.
So you guys had a baby?
We have 2 children.
Wow.
But at that time we had one baby, and so I let him come back, and everything was like, oh, we were in the honeymoon. Right?
Again.
So this is the thing, is that
back again.
Back again. Yeah. So this is the thing that people don't realize with domestic violence is, people expect you to come and tell the story about this monster that you were with when really this person might be a dope person.
Yeah.
They might have they might have really great qualities and things that you really liked about them. He was my go out partner. He was my friend. We could talk, and because we had a trauma bond,
Right.
because he went through trauma as a child. I went through trauma as a child.
Yep.
So he understood me in a way that other people necessarily didn't. So because of the trauma bond, it was easy for us to come back together.
Wow.
Right? And it was
that's
a
why
feeling
people
of
try to
family.
stick together. They like, oh, we went through this hate.
See, because
we have a mother,
we ride or die.
father.
Yeah, we together, right?
We love each other because just no.
You have to realize all connections are not good connections,
Yes,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he came back that time, we were good for a while, and then it got so violent. It got so violent on both of our behalf. It wasn't just him. It was very violent on both our behalf. And I remember he broke my face, this part of my face. So
you are so beautiful. I would never know.
God is good.
God is amazing.
We don't look like what we've been through.
We do not look like what we've been
Thank
through.
God we don't look
Everybody
like
at City College, keep pushing through. Keep pushing through. If you're going through something here at City College, just keep motivating yourself to push through. Let's go back. So you said what? Because your face is so like, you guys have to come to the station and see. You are beautiful. I would never know.
Yes.
So he broke the side of your face.
Right. So he broke. So my eye, this cheekbone was broken, and my eye went down, and it was like green and blue, and it was like over here, and I was like, I felt like Miss Sophia. And I was like, oh, Harpo, don't leave me now. Because I wasn't sure. I said, ain't nobody going to want me after this one.
Wow.
Because I just was like, oh, my goodness. And he hit me. And I went and got his gun.
Wow.
I went and got his gun, and I shot at him.
Wow.
And it's only the grace of God that I'm a walking free lady and he's alive.
Yes.
Right? Because the trauma of the hit my soul, and I was just like, nobody's gonna hit me again. Right.
And that was enough for you to just almost defend yourself, of course.
Because I'm hard-headed.
You might have took somebody's life.
If you have been going through a situation, whether it be domestic violence or gang relations or incarceration or mental health issues, and you just keep going back to it and then trying to come back out of it, just keep coming back out of it. Eventually you will come out of it, because I'm probably the most hard-headed woman on the face of the planet.
Right.
Like, I literally never get enough, right? Yeah. So it had to get to a point where, for me, enough was too much. Right. So that incident happened, I think that was in 2010. Eventually he ended up later on that day crushing my teeth in my mouth.
Wow.
Breaking my nose. It was expansive violence.
Wow.
And it was so unfortunate, not only just for me and what it did to my spirit, what it did to his spirit, but what it did to those kids.
Yes.
Because even though they didn't necessarily see the violence, they felt that energy in the space.
And we do have to talk about the kids, because they are very important. They're the future, and being their mom and them not actually seeing it, but them actually feeling it. How did that affect you?
Because
was that a reason why you was like, I really gotta go?
I wish it would have been a stronger reason for me, because unfortunately I still went back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
it happened.
Even, and this is the thing, the cycle of abuse is about 7 times. I ran the whole 7.
It's not funny.
I said, no, I'm not.
We're going for the
marathon here. Like, I said to myself, no, it ain't over. I can still fix them. I said, I promise you, I thought I could still fix it. I was like, we gonna fight for love. I was with my Jennifer Hudson. We gonna fight for love. Like, we gonna make this happen.
Yes.
But what ended up happening that particular year is that my oldest son heard me crying, and he remembered that a cell phone, because at that point my ex had broke all the phones and all communication out the house, and my oldest son remembered that a cell phone still could call 911 whether it has service or not.
Wow.
So he used an old cell phone that was laying around in the house to call 911. And I'm in the room being assaulted, and the police came in the room
and saved your life.
One of the times, they had to come a couple times.
Right.
I'm hard-headed. Police if you are an officer,
they're actually here on campus.
And officers, people who serve the public in that capacity, and you see a victim of domestic violence, do not be discouraged by their go back. Just keep showing up for them, because even though they may be putting themselves in harm's way, it is a psychological issue that's going on. It's a mental dynamic that's happening that makes you want to be with your abuser in an unhealthy way, even though it's very plain for everybody else outside of you to see that this is not healthy and this is going to possibly cost you your life. But first responders that respond, be delicate with us, because sometimes it's not what the abuser does, it's what the responder does after the abuser that makes you feel safe enough to say, I'm tired, or I'm done. I'm like, you know, I have been meant. I remember when this side of my face was broken. So 2010 this side, 2013 this side. So my eye socket, my eyebrow, my nose, and my ribs were broken in 2013. And he kept me in the house for 2 days, bleeding out. I was just bleeding, coughing up blood and stuff. And my mom hadn't heard from me, and she said she felt something in her spirit. So she called 911, and it just so happened that he had left the house in that brief moment, and the police shows up in swarm at my house to do like a wellness check. Thank God I made it through the wellness check,
those wellness checks are a lifesaver.
Yeah, so they came, and when they came, I remember being taken to the hospital. Now, mind you, I grew up in domestic violence, so I know about witch hazel. And hot compress, okay? So that's why I don't look like what I've been through. So I went to the hospital, and I remember the police officers saying, I told my story. I told how I was assaulted. And they said, you don't look like you were beat up.
Wow.
And they left me. Now, at this point, I'm out the house. So he knows I'm not in the house. So when he gets back to the house, I have a serious situation going on.
You have a serious situation on your hands now.
So now the police have left me because they're like, you don't look like you got beat up.
Or we probably don't even believe you.
They didn't believe me. The MRI came back and the doctors pressed charges.
Wow.
The doctors pressed charges. And I remember I got my car back and I got my baby. At the time, she was like 3 or 4. I was so scared. I drove from Virginia to Texas with a broken rib, a broken eye socket, and eyebrow and nose. Because I didn't know where to go.
You were just gonna go.
I just needed to go. I was just so, I just didn't know what to do anymore. I was tired. I was embarrassed. I was humiliated. You know, I didn't want anybody to know that this was happening to me, and I ran, and I drove all the way across the country. Thank God I had someone, you know, and that's why I say it's so important when you know somebody's being abused, keep the line of communication open, keep yourself available to them. Don't judge them, because you might be the source of their salvation one day. You never know when that day, and it clicks in their head and they remember Cher was kind to me. I can call her. You know, so I know that for me, it was my best friend in Texas at the time, and I just was like, I'm on my way. I didn't know where I could rest my head. I just knew to go there. So I drove. Your responses are so exaggerant, or that you're doing too much, or when everything you say is a problem, or when they're making you cry, or they're trying to control you. Acknowledge your truth. Your truth is that you're a victim of domestic violence, and until you acknowledge that you are a victim, you cannot heal and be a survivor. You can't survive something that you don't acknowledge. So I think that the hardest thing for a lot of us is to own our truth and say that I'm a victim. I've been hurt, you know, and say to yourself, I want to do something to change it. Because if you don't, it could cost you your life. And you might not value your life right now. You might feel so down because of what someone's done to you that your life doesn't matter to even you. But imagine the people that it does matter to. Imagine the people who are aligned with your destiny. There are people attached to your destiny. They need your story. They need who you are, the gifts you bring. And you're never going to be able to get to them because you're allowing someone else who didn't create you, who doesn't have a heaven or hell to put you in, narrate your life. Take control over your life.
Thank you so much for sharing that with everybody at CCNY. We really appreciate your story, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. Like, I learned so much from it, and you just gave me courage to move on from even my situation and to stand up and acknowledge that I am a victim of domestic violence and I can move forward and be a survivor. Thank you for that, and I really appreciate you. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. This is an amazing interview. I might have to do another one. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to join back on live because right now we have a little complications, but your story is needed, and we hear you here at CCNY. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with the Hottest Hour Lunch Talk. You guys stay tuned. And we are back. We are live. And yes, we are still here at the Hottest Hour. We're going over the time today just because it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I have my special guest still in the building. And we about to get into the real interview because that was the real interview, but I just feel like it was so deep. I couldn't cut you. I couldn't even say like, oh, let's just jump into another question. I had to let you finish out your story. So thank you for sharing that with us because we needed that here on City College campus. Like your story, I know motivated a lot of people here, and thank you for that. It's very appreciated. So after everything that you've been through, your domestic violence ups and downs, your career goals, your beautiful children, through all of that, what inspired you to keep going?
Well, I knew there were people attached to my destiny, and I knew that what was in front of me was so much better than what was behind me that I had no reason to look back. So I just been looking forward, and I tell you, this has been the past year and a half without domestic violence has been a dope year.
Let's talk to that.
A dope year.
Yes.
So in the past year and a half, I launched an organization called the Day 2 Multipurpose Center out in Brownsville, Brooklyn on Dean Street, helping to serve those who are formerly incarcerated, working with an exoneree who have made front page news a couple years back. And we launched a nonprofit, did a lot of collaborating and coordination with other great organizations like the Innocent Project and the Exoneree Project. So we were working with them and working with the city and the mayor's office. Shout out to my program director, Eric Williams. He does amazing work. He works with Exodus up in Harlem as well. So we did a lot of work there. And then I got involved with doing some restaurant kind of showcases, and I started doing vision board parties and just helping to clear the vision and working with other young entrepreneurs such as Jim Starr, who's dope and doing amazing stuff. He just was on News 12 this week, and he does In the Yard and Clean Up Brownsville and Jim Starr Fitness. I've been working.
Work going on in Brooklyn.
Oh man, it's a lot of work going on all over the city. You know, all over the city. All 5 boroughs have a lot of work that needs to be done. You know, and I kind of just been on the ground with all of it and just connecting with some really dope people. So last year I helped to produce. I was one of the executives. I was the executive producer for the Culture Fest, which was on 4/20 this year. We had a big concert in Williamsburg. About 2,000 participants came out, and I did a lot of the back work for the concert, especially with the concentration about marijuana being legalized and stuff like that. Not my thing, but I'm all about creativity. I'm all about accepting where people are at and what their experience is, and the medicinal purposes of it, and not allowing corporations to capitalize off of what we do as a people. So I did that, and I produced a couple of other programs and shows, and launched the Queendom NYC. And so it's just been like nonstop work and fun and happy times. And I've come across some really dope people. I've spoken at a lot of different events and done a lot of different stuff for domestic violence. But it's just been an ongoing process, and all the while, mind you, the criminal justice system still having me to have to deal with the trial and the case and that whole scenario, and him being on the run. It was a movie. It's been a movie. So anyway, nonetheless, I'm at the place where I'm at now.
Amazing.
Where now I have positioned myself to be able to create further. And I have been working with the great Charles Perry, who is the master vocal coach, and just in working with everybody.
Okay.
I love it.
I love it.
Queen has found her voice again. I have found my voice again. So
you're back singing.
I am back singing, working with Bedrock Productions, and we're working on putting together a project that will be released in 2020.
Amazing.
So it's all about still that courage to change.
Yes.
And acknowledge, and I think there's a space for it. So I have the Queendom, which does the events and all of that stuff, and works with other artists and organizations, just building it up.
Yes, I can't wait to work with you guys. And let's partner and try to let's bring out an event. Let's not try. Let's definitely do an event.
So we definitely going to do an event. So
we're doing an event.
We doing an event.
Mark our words. We're doing it.
And you want to be there because everything I do is lit. So it could be an empty room. It's lit when I walk in. Like it's a good time, because what I got inside of me is like that second chance. Everybody don't get a second chance. When you get that second chance, you run with it. You run with it. So
I love it. So how has it been balancing your career? Like how has that been balancing your career?
I have no balance.
No.
Why do you
say that?
I have no balance.
Your business journey has been up and down, successful.
So what I've learned, this is what I learned. It doesn't matter if it's a good day. It doesn't matter if it's a bad day. You show up.
Right.
Show up. And that means being present is so much deeper than people realize.
Yes.
You can make excuses or you can make it happen.
Yes.
I choose to make it happen.
Yes.
Every single day. I get up, I show up, I make it happen. And some days are really, really, really hard. Some days you don't feel like showing up. But if you just show up, God will meet you where you're at.
Yes.
And everything that you need. I'm talking about the past year, I've seen just miracles. I've seen miracles happen for me and my family, that things that shouldn't happen, things that if you were to look at the numbers and statistics, most people are still suffering or going through certain things. And my family has been able to make it through those things. And I believe that's because I show up.
Yes. And you stay consistent.
I try to be as consistent as possible. I have a dope support system. My children, my adult children, are just the most dopest individuals. Shout out to 100 Soul Blue.
My kids are so lit. They the littest kids.
They the littest kids in the whole. Shout out to 100 Soul Blue.
I need you your face in this camera. I'm sorry, y'all. This face, you guys see? We over here glowed up.
Glowed up. Queen
good.
and glamping.
Yes,
glamping
we
in the
are
studio.
glowing.
So, my oldest son is a rapper. He goes by 100 Soul Blue, and his first album is on iTunes. His content is different. Listen, we all got our own story. Know your truth today. Our own self be true. So I think it's Go Get a Bag is his album, 100 Soul Blue, and then
can I get the music? Please send me all clean music. I would love to have
nothing clean about my son's music. Nothing.
Well, hey, I still need the music.
You gonna get the music now? Let me tell you, I'm trying to let you know, because his song Go Get Money and Drip is like a soundtrack to me. Like when I get in the car and I'm feeling low, or I'm feeling like dang, I'm tired, I really don't want to go out here and push today, that Drip, that Go Get Money, it'll have me in a space that it's like, nah, you gotta go. You got it like that. That's that energizer. It was back in the day. Lloyd Banks had Beamer, Benz, and Bentley, and I used to put that on, and I was like, "All right, it's time to go get it." Because I had dreams. I had dreams. So, my son's music does that for me as well. And then there's another artist that is extremely special to me, and I know we're gonna play her.
Yes, we're definitely gonna spin her
song. So Diamond V is like, she's super dope to me, and she's become like one of my babies. Like she's like one of my kids. I know she's too old to be one of my kids, but like she's my baby sister or something. I love her to death. And her music is all about resiliency.
Yes.
Her songs speak to your spirit, and I promise you, it's one song that we're going to be releasing soon. So there will be, my next event is happening December 7th up here, I believe at the Living Room in the Bronx, and it's going to be an EP release with Diamond V and Banger, the real Banger. And well, Diamond's music, that EP either way, which hasn't released yet, but it was like, I'm gonna shine either way.
Yes.
The message in the song is like, it doesn't matter what somebody does to you, it's what you do in response to it. And my response is that whether you like me, you don't like me, this go for my mama, my daddy, my ex, my friends, whether you like me, you don't like me, whether you want to see me fail or want to see me succeed, I'ma shine either way.
Amen.
Either way, I'm going forward. So that Diamond V is, you know, she's very dear and near to me as well. Another artist that I built a wonderful relationship with is Suzanne. And Suzanne has this record out, Fallen Tears.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. And I swear I just sing it, and it used to make me like just release emotions. Now I just sing it in celebration because it's where I used to be.
Wow.
I ain't crying no more.
Amen.
Ain't no more tears. I ain't got nothing to cry about.
I need all this music. Can you just
Yeah.
send it to me?
Yes.
So right now we're gonna take a quick break, but when we get back, we're gonna talk about what do you do when you have rough times? How do you keep going? And then I want to close out with everything you have in store for 2020. So let's get it. Also, shout out to everybody tuning in on Instagram Live and on Facebook Live. And of course, shout out to everybody listening in at City College. We love you guys, and I hope your semester is going well. And also, I hope midterms is going well. Don't leave, guys. I need you guys to stay tuned. I'm going to get into Diamond V, Rose, Gold, and we're going to come out and close. So you guys don't want to miss. This is the hottest hour with your girl, Cher Ferguson. Stay tuned. Woo, yes, Lord. Diamond V. Let's get into it. When this person's coming up, you know the song by heart, no?
Yep.
Oh, no?
It's in the rap part.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, what you say? I don't really care what they say about me. Don't really matter what they think about me. Cause you know how it is when you fall. Never see a diamond where rose goes. So tell me that I'm here right now. Hey, I'm here right now. Don't really care what they say about me. Don't really know not to play around me. I don't really care what they say about me. Don't really matter what they think about me. Cause you know how it is when you fall. Never seen a diamond where rose goes. So tell them that I'm here right now. It's like it is, I'm sure here right now. Don't really care what they say about me. Don't really know not to play around me.
So,
You are now listening to the hottest hour, Lunch Talk on WCCR 590 AM City College Radio, with new hip hop, R&B, reggae, indie, and old school.
and we are back here at WCCR 590 AM City College Radio. And my special guest is still here, so I'm excited. Yes, so we're going to close out. But before we close out, I just have a couple more questions for you. I know I had you here for a long time, but I just love you here. Like, I need
Thank you. I love you.
The guest story is needed. We need her here every week, probably. We just need you. So when you have rough times, what drives you to keep going?
I would say that the fact that I know they don't last. I've seen enough bad days to know that they don't last forever, that good days follow. And
Speak the truth.
so I focus on what's in front of me and not what's behind me. And you know, when it's really bad and I feel like, you know, this is overwhelming, you know, it's not easy raising children alone. It's not easy being an entrepreneur and have to figure out where your next dollar is coming from or how you're going to eat. And it's that real,
Yes.
you know, but I know with the promises that are inside of me. I know for a fact I'm a millionaire.
Sit next to a millionaire.
Yes, you are. Like I know that. So it's just a matter. I'm one person away. I'm one person away from my next level. So as long as I show up, that person has the opportunity to meet me, and I have the opportunity to get into my destiny. And then the people that are attached to me, the women that are attached to me. So like even with my children, you know, things happen, life happens, but I consistently remind them, like, you know, I don't have time to be bogged down with essential stuff. There is a woman right now being abused. There is someone who is hungry right now, and I can't get to them for nonsense. So no, I don't have time to sit with friends about chit-chatting and gossiping about the next woman or somebody's situation. I don't want to hear about your problem. I want to hear the solution. I'm here to support and I'm here to help, but I constantly focus on what it is that needs to happen next.
Right.
Because otherwise you'll get yesterday's gone. We're in today. Tomorrow's not promised. So we have to be present. And so for me, the bad days that come, they can't stay.
Right.
Because I know for a fact, I had to fight for my life. I know for a fact I can overcome any challenge that comes my way.
And you will. And I have to clap for that. Like, it's great. Like, your stuff is dope, okay? Like, you have to support it. Like, it's needed. So let's talk about Queendom NYC.
Okay.
So how did you feel when you giving back and you're, going full throttle with your business?
So it was scary a little bit because I have lived a life of codependency, taking care of my mom, taking care of my brothers, taking care of my kids, taking care of my baby fathers, taking care of this one, taking care of that one. And putting myself forward as the leader, period, it was like, am I doing this? Yes, I'm doing this. And it's done. Some people will often misconstrue my titling queen as some kind of level of conceit. It is not conceit. It is an acknowledgement of who I am and what I come from. I don't come from anything less. So it doesn't matter what anyone else perceives, but then we often are nervous to announce ourselves in a room. I won't shrink. And the Queendom NYC is the opportunity for other women to not shrink as well. Don't shrink. We're not shrinking. The queens are in the building. That's it. And when the queens walk in the building, you know
yourself to that certain stature, standard. You have to display it, and you walk in the room. Everybody feels it, but it's hard for them to acknowledge it, which is so weird. That's why we have to uplift our females to actually bond together. Like in the studio right now, I have it's three powerful women together working and moving forward, and we have to educate people to come together because we have so many people fighting each other. Just you're trying to get to the next level. I don't like you, and that happened to me through my growing through my business journey. I had females that was just like, I don't want to help you. I've done intern at a whole bunch of agencies, PR, this, that, and I decided I'm just gonna create my own thing, just how you did. And you're motivating me to keep going, pushing forward. So thank you for that. Your business. Everything that you guys have in store are gonna motivate women and push them forward, and we need that. So thank you.
Well, that's the bigger vision. The bigger vision is that the Queendom NYC is going to eventually produce an opportunity for women from all over the world.
Yes.
Because there is no better place than New York City. That's just on period.
I have to work with you guys. I'm just letting you know now. I have to work with you guys.
So eventually women from all over will come together, and we will experience every facet of what it is to be a whole woman.
Yes.
Right. And have a festival and a connection and opportunity that's not watered down, that's not commercial, that's not about vendoring, but about real restoration of person, about real growth, so that this way we can push the issue of us being great onto the next generation and leave a legacy. So the Queendom is not just an organization I'm the queen. No, there are principles attached to this.
Yes.
Okay. We have a mantra of what it is that we do. We love, we create, we duplicate, we give back,
yes.
We never settle, we
yes.
organize, we execute, we are sisters, and we pray. Those are our values. And then we have principles that help to announce how we should interact. So the foundation of the Queendom is not just, I decided to call myself queen. No, there are foundational principles that transcend biblical and different ideological thinking. So because I'm a learned woman, because I am an educated woman, I don't plan on just giving my opinion. I feel like there's way too many opinions out there,
yes.
not enough research.
Yes.
I have research-driven thoughts that I have manifested into an organization that is intended to change the narrative of Black women. And what we know is that as a group of people, we have to have unifying factors in order to move forward. If we don't have a unifying factor, then we're moving, but we're not necessarily moving forward.
And
We're all over
making
the
a
place.
change. Yeah.
We're not making a change, you know. So it's about collective thinking.
Yes.
It's about collective bargaining, and it's about using our power to empower each other and not devour each other. Because right now it's like, woo, it's hard out there for a sister, you know. So that's really where I am with the Queendom, and it's a lot to look forward to. So I'm titling next year 2020 Vision.
Yes.
2020 Vision, because it's no longer a time of going around the mountain, the proverbial mountain. We're in the promised land. We're right here. Get the milk and honey. It's an opportunity to move forward and to really just see things as they are. Not a forest, not as what we want them to be. We're not going to keep pretending that our best friend is our best friend when she's a nasty, mean chick. We're not going to keep pretending that, you know, our man is our man when we don't see him but one day out the week. We're not going to keep pretending that our job is a career when we only are making enough to buy groceries and pay rent.
No, yeah.
We are going to see things as they are, and we are going to organize it to move in the way that we need it to move, so that this way we can get the intended outcome. And the intended outcome is success, and not only to prosper in money, but to prosper in our souls.
Definitely. Let's change the narrative, guys. Let's change the narrative. So let's close out with, what do you have in store for 2020? 2020, guys, is right around the corner, and I'm super excited for it. I got back in the gym. I was doing some, crunches. I was on the treadmill. I was like, you know what? I feel excited for 2020. It's so much motivation, so much things that we have to do. So many great things we got to do. So what are your plans for 2020? Let everyone know at City College, what do you have in store?
So in 2020, I have several things that are happening. Thanks to my educational coach, Octavia Torian, I am going back to school to receive my JD in law.
Oh,
I will start September 2020 in getting my law degree. I haven't been formally accepted, so I won't announce the school, but I shall be by February. The goal is to be ordained as a minister. Yes, the pretty girl with the big booty is going to be the minister.
right.
Because see, God chooses. You don't get to choose.
Yes.
You don't get to choose me.
Yes.
I was chosen by him.
Yes.
So I'll be ordained by September 2020 as well. I have a project that I'm working on, and it will be released in April. It's called The Lion That Roared Butterflies. And it is my visual EP and narrative of this transformation that I've gone through.
Wow.
And so that will be released in April. And then by next year this time, my book, Guilty Faces, about domestic violence should be published.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, like, are you going to write something? Like, I know you're a writer. Like, what are you going to produce or write? And look, you're going to definitely write
2020 Vision.
Yes.
Is no ifs, ands, buts about it.
All great things.
And before I close out this year, before 2019 ends, my 3 artists that I work with, I Am Diamond B, The Real Banger, and Hunnits All Blue, will have released their products and their projects, and hopefully we will be connecting with record labels and giving them an opportunity to showcase, the work that helps inspire me. So that big party is going to happen in December, and I'm excited about it.
I need the music, but I'm excited. I need the music, guys. So
wait.
What?
Hold on, Holiday. Hold on, Holiday.
You got something else?
Yes, the most important part. So, if anybody follows me on Instagram, I am Charisma, CARIZMA _the_queen.
Let them know one more time where they could follow you at, where they could find you.
You can find me at Charisma _the_queen, and Charisma spelled CARIZMA. And if you go to my page, you will see me in fabulous outfits, like I don't have 7 kids, all day, every day.
Like, she went to boutique, like I could order her outfits on a boutique. I was like, ooh.
Well, here we go.
Yeah.
Now that's the announcement. So 2020, my stylist, who's sitting behind me, who dresses me.
So wait. Yes.
who has the online boutique, Young
Yes.
and Heart Boutique.
And I want you to come and share it with them. You can come and tell them if you want. You come let them know.
She gonna do
Hey
it.
guys, I'm Monique. You can find me Black Velvet 1030 on Instagram. Also follow Young at Heart _boutique on IG. Look for some new pieces coming 2020. Thank you.
Yes, I've seen all your pieces. They are amazing. So for 2020, you guys are working together.
Right, so we've been working together for the past year, and honestly, the person making the most money is her. Okay, like I'm talking, but you know what I'm saying. We need to get these stuff. So I mean, the thing about it is that Monique makes it possible for me to show up. I don't have to fumble. I don't have to think about it. You know, a lot of times I have to get in my spirit. I have to get into myself to be able to speak. So like I'll be speaking at Abyssinian Church on November 14th as a keynote speaker in regards to domestic violence.
I'll definitely come out. Yes.
I'll be with Chrissy D. She has Music Freak Radio. I'll be speaking with her next week, Tuesday. So I have quite a few things and events that I'll be speaking at, and Monique makes sure that I'm okay.
Great.
I mean, she makes sure that I'm okay. So if you're that friend, you know, City College, that takes care of your other friend, be okay with seeing the greatness in somebody else. Be okay with seeing the purpose on somebody else, and know that your assignment to them is just as important as their assignment to the world.
Yes.
So 2020, the vision is very clear. You know, friends matter. And stop being a hater.
Yes, let's support each other, y'all.
Support each other.
Let's stop hating.
That's it.
Thank you, because we love each other.
Period.
We all queer.
Period. You know,
it's no
we the old version of the city girls. You know, that's my JT right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been out here, QT been out here. I've been out here on the circuit. You know,
fall. I'm telling y'all, hot mother fall. I'm at the trademark that.
Hot mother fall. That's it. Right.
So everything, me and my boo be saying, like, every time we come up with something, we be like, we got to trademark that because it's real.
It's trademarks are real.
It's real. Yes. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Coming to CCNY. This was one of my best shows yet, guys. I feel so honored. So thank you so much. Like, I know we're going to have so much in store, like all of us together. We're going to hang out, work together and everything. So thank you so much. We went over the time, y'all, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned next week. I have an artist coming in, Kobe Music. He's a student here at CCNY, but he will be visiting the show, guys, so you guys don't want to miss. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to give away a gift card today, so I'm going to give it to you. Yes, I gave it to her best friend, guys, because you guys didn't call in. So stay tuned to next week. This is the hottest hour lunch talk at WCCR 590 AM City College Radio with your girl, Cher Ferguson. Stay tuned, guys, to next week. I'll be back. Bye.